A few years ago, I found a topic on Udemy with 0 competing courses. Not low competition, 0. I built one course around it, and today that single course has over 40,000 students enrolled. Finding that topic wasn't luck. It came down to one specific process I run every time before I let myself start building a course. And that's exactly what I'm walking you through today. I make courses across Udemy, Coursera, and Skillshare. And if there's one thing I've learned that separates a course that sits at a dozen students forever from one that hits tens of thousands, it's not the editing and it's not the marketing. It's whether you actually validated the idea before you ever built it. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I validate a course idea, the same process that led me to a topic called responsible AI, back when almost nobody was teaching it. By the end of this, you'll have the actual steps I use, not just do some research as advice. Here's the problem most people run into. They pick a course topic because they're passionate about it or because they assume other people must want to learn it too. And then they spend weeks, sometimes months, recording and editing a course that ends up sitting there with a dozen enrollments and a couple of reviews. You've probably felt some version of this. You finish editing, you hit publish, and then nothing much happens. A trickle of enrollments, 1 or 2 reviews, and a nagging feeling that maybe the whole idea was wrong from the start. That feeling is almost never really about your delivery. It's about a decision that got made much earlier at the idea stage, when nobody stress tested whether the audience for that topic actually existed. I ran into this exact fork in the road with responsible AI. I kept seeing the same conversation showing up everywhere I looked online. Articles, forum threads, comment sections. People weren't asking, what is AI anymore? That question had been answered 1,000 times over. They were asking something closer to, now that I'm actually using this stuff, what am I responsible for? Legally, ethically, professionally? And that's a completely different, much newer question, and one almost nobody was answering. So when I went looking for a course that actually taught it on the platform where I publish, I found nothing. 0 courses on the subject. That's usually the point where people either get excited and build blind or get scared off completely, assuming 0 results must mean 0 interest. Neither reaction is right, and figuring out which one it actually is the whole point of the process I'm about to walk you through. So here's what I actually do, in order. First, I pay attention to what people are already talking about before there's a course category for it, not what I personally find interesting, what keeps showing up, unprompted, in the places people go to ask real questions. With responsible AI, that meant reading around online and noticing the same phrase, responsible AI or AI responsibilities, kept surfacing in conversations that had nothing to do with each other. Different articles, different comment sections, different communities, all circling the same unanswered question. That repetition is a signal. It means a topic is becoming a felt need before it's even become a proper search category. Then I go straight to the platform and search the exact phrase, not a related topic, not a broad category, the exact words a student would actually type in. When I searched Udemy for anything on responsible AI, I got back nothing relevant. And here's where a lot of people get this next part completely backwards. Some panic and drop the idea entirely, assuming an empty search means nobody's interested. Others get excited and start building immediately, assuming an empty search automatically means easy money. Both reactions are guessing, because 0 competition on its own doesn't tell you anything reliable. It can mean you found a genuine gap. It can just as easily mean nobody's looking at all. That's why the next step matters more than the first 2 combined. I check whether the platform itself is telling me the topic is actually trending, not my gut feeling, but the real marketplace data platforms like Udemy show instructors about what students are searching for and which categories are heating up. With responsible AI, that data backed up what I'd already been noticing anecdotally. Rising search interest, sitting right next to almost no supply. That specific combination, real and rising demand next to an empty shelf, is the exact gap you're hunting for. It's rare, and it's exactly why it's worth the extra step to confirm before you commit weeks of your time. And I don't stop there either. I take that same topic outside the platform entirely. Google search trends, what's showing up on YouTube, general conversation volume, to make sure I'm not just looking at a quirk of one algorithm on one site. If interest only shows up in one place, that's a much weaker signal than if it's showing up everywhere people go looking for answers. With responsible AI, it wasn't confined to Udemy at all. People were searching for it and talking about it everywhere. Quick gut check, because this trips people up constantly. None of this means you need a spreadsheet full of data before you're allowed to have an idea. The conversation noticing part is genuinely just paying attention. It's the next two steps, checking the platform search and checking the trend data that turn a hunch into something you can actually commit weeks of work to. Skip either one and you're back to guessing with extra steps. Only once all three of those line up, a real conversation happening in public, a genuine content gap on the platform I publish to, an outside confirmation that demand is actually rising, not just present, do I let myself commit to actually building? And even then, I scoped the course tightly around the specific question people were asking, not a broad, generic overview of AI ethics in general. The whole reason this works isn't magic. You're answering a specific question a specific group of people already has, instead of guessing at a question they might have. That process is exactly what led me to build responsible AI. Zero competing courses, but real rising demand sitting right behind that empty search result. I built it, scoped tightly around the actual questions people had, and published it. Today, that one course has over 40,000 students enrolled. 40,000 people who went looking for an answer and found a course because the demand was checked and confirmed before I ever touched a slide. If you take one thing away from this video, let it be that the difference between a course that sits at a dozen students and one that hits tens of thousands usually isn't decided when you're recording. It's decided earlier when you check whether anyone's actually asking the question you're about to spend weeks answering. And this process isn't specific to AI or to one platform. It works the same way whether you're publishing on Udemy, Coursera, or Skillshare, because the underlying question is always identical. Is a real audience already asking this? Or am I hoping one shows up? If you've got a course idea sitting in your notes app right now, drop it in the comments. I'll tell you honestly whether I think it's worth chasing based on what I just walked you through. And if this kind of behind the scenes process is useful to you, subscribing means you won't miss the next one, because I regularly break down exactly how I build and validate courses on this channel. Subscribe if you want more of this, and I'll see you in the next video.